I had never been the type to trust dating apps, but after months of watching my friends go out, fall in love, break up, and try again, I figured, why not? So one rainy Wednesday night in March, I downloaded Tinder. I didn't expect much. Just browsing. Curiosity, really. That's when I matched with him. Arman, 31. Coffee addict, music junkie, traveler. His pictures weren't like the others. No shirtless bathroom mirror selfies, no group photos with no clue who was who. He wore black turtlenecks, looked straight into the camera, and had a half smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Something about him felt oddly magnetic, like you couldn't look away. I should have trusted that chill in my spine, but I didn't. Our first chat was charming. He wasn't overly flirtatious, just intense. He asked questions most guys didn't. About my favorite books, if I believed in ghosts, what dreams I remembered from childhood. Odd things. But he listened. Really listened. I found myself opening up more than I usually did with strangers. He made me feel seen. After a week of chatting until midnight, he asked to meet in person. I hesitated. Let's keep it chill, he wrote. Daytime. Public place. Coffee, my treat. I agreed, but something about his message lingered in my mind. It was too careful, as if written by someone who knew how to earn trust. Still, I wanted to give it a chance. We met that Sunday afternoon at a quiet cafe tucked in a corner of a bookstore. He looked exactly like his photos, neatly dressed, calm, polite. I remember thinking how good he smelled, like old paper and pine. We talked for hours. I laughed. I felt a flicker of something real. But then, something strange happened. As we said goodbye, he leaned in, not to hug me, but to sniff my hair. It was subtle, but I felt it. You smell like someone I used to know, he whispered. Then he smiled, that same half smile. And just like that, the air around me shifted, like something invisible had just stepped into the room. I tried to brush it off on the way home. Maybe I misread him. Maybe he was just awkward. Still, the way he had leaned in, it didn't feel like a hug. It felt like he was memorizing something. Like I was a scent he'd lost and finally rediscovered. That night, Arman messaged me like nothing happened. Had a really good time today. You looked beautiful in that green coat. I hadn't told him what color I'd be wearing. Still, I thanked him politely. But over the next few days, his texts became heavier. Not flirty, just intense. He wanted to know my schedule, what time I woke up, what I dreamed about, whether I locked my windows at night. That last one made me freeze. I didn't answer. The next morning, he sent a photo. Saw this and thought of you. It was a picture of a crow sitting on a windowsill. My windowsill. I lived on the 3rd floor. I didn't reply for hours. When I finally did, I kept it casual. Did you come by my place? No, of course not. Just reminded me of you. Didn't mean to be weird. But something had already turned inside me. I triple-checked my locks that night. Closed the blinds, turned off location sharing on everything. A few days passed without a word. I started to feel a bit silly, paranoid, until my friend Mira called. Hey, you said you were seeing a guy named Arman? Yeah, why? I swear he messaged me. Different profile, different name, but same face. He sent me a weird audio message, whispering. I blocked him. My stomach flipped. I searched Tinder. His profile was gone. Not unmatched. Gone. And when I checked his Instagram, which had been public before, it was now private. My DMs with him were still there, though. Still that same calm tone, like nothing was wrong. That night, I found a note under my doormat. You're even more beautiful when you're scared. I didn't sleep at all. I took the note to the police the next morning. The officer, young, maybe just out of the academy, glanced at it and raised an eyebrow. It's creepy, yeah, but technically it's not a threat. I asked if they could look him up. Arman. The photos, the messages, but I didn't even know his last name. I hadn't saved our chat logs. Just Tinder screenshots, and even those weren't enough. His profile had vanished. So had any trace of his number. I'll file a report, the officer finally said, tapping on his keyboard. Let us know if he tries anything again. That was it. I stayed with Mira for a few nights after that. I didn't tell my parents. Didn't want to scare them. But Mira, thankfully, believed me completely. She helped me change all my passwords, covered my webcam, made sure my phone had a VPN. Don't panic, she kept saying. Just be smart. The next strange thing happened on a Wednesday evening. I had gone back to my apartment to grab some clothes. It was just after sunset, and the hallway was quiet. I let myself in quickly, locking the door behind me. Everything looked normal. until I noticed something was off in the kitchen. There was a coffee mug in the sink, my mug, but I hadn't been there for days, and it was wet, freshly used. I checked the windows, still locked. Front door? No sign of tampering, and yet there was a strange metallic smell in the air, like rust. Then I saw it. One of my books, The Haunting of Hill House, lay open on the coffee table. I hadn't left it there. I felt it in my chest before I heard it. A click from the hallway closet. I froze. Another soft sound, breathing. I backed toward the door, trembling so hard my keys nearly slipped from my hand. And then, a knock. Not on my front door, inside. A single, soft knock came from inside the closet. I ran, out of the apartment, down the stairs, onto the street. I didn't stop until I was at Mira's door again, shaking and gasping. Later that night, Mira found something in my coat pocket. A single black thread, coarse, like it had been pulled from a heavy coat I didn't own, and tied around it. A single strand of my hair. I didn't go back to my apartment after that. Mira and I stayed in her place with the doors double locked and a bat by the bed. I called the police again. They checked my apartment and found no one. No forced entry. Nothing stolen. They said maybe I left the closet ajar and scared myself. But I know I didn't imagine that knock. I started researching. I dug through the screenshots I had of Arman's profile and reverse searched one of his photos. Nothing. I tried the Tinder help center. No luck, since the account had been deleted. I even searched online forums for other people who had matched with someone similar. Still, nothing. Then Mira remembered the audio file she'd received from the other profile. She had deleted it, but thankfully, her phone had backed it up to the cloud. We listened to it together in the kitchen with all the lights on. The sound was muffled, low, whispery breathing. Then a voice. I found her. Her fear is beautiful. It tastes like salt. My skin went cold. I sent the file to a tech-savvy friend who cleaned it up. He also found something disturbing. The audio was layered. Under the voice, there was faint music, an old song. We played it. I Only Have Eyes for You by the Flamingos. I hadn't heard that song in years, but suddenly I remembered it because it had played at the cafe where Arman and I met. It was playing in the background when he leaned in to sniff my hair. I couldn't sleep after that. I kept imagining him, not watching from the shadows, but waiting inside walls, beneath beds, between cracks in the world where no one else looked. The worst part? I still didn't know who he really was. No last name, no friends, no trace online. It was like he'd only existed for me. Then I got an email from a burner address. Subject, do you miss me yet? Attached was a photo. Me on Mira's couch, sleeping. The timestamp was from last night. The photo sent me into full panic. Mira wanted to call the police again, but I stopped her. We'd done that. They couldn't help. They didn't see what we saw. So I made a decision. I was going to lure him out. If Arman, or whatever he was, wanted me afraid, I'd act afraid. But this time, I'd do it my way. I made a post on an old blog I hadn't touched in years. It was buried deep online under my old username. The post was a message only someone watching me closely would understand. I'm tired of hiding. I'm going home tonight. I gave a fake date and time. A trap. Then Mira and I installed motion sensors and a hidden camera in my apartment. We set up live monitoring from her laptop. I wouldn't really be there, just the illusion, the bait. And it worked. At 2:37 a.m., the sensor pinged. The live feed showed the front door slowly creaking open. There was no forced entry. Then he walked in. It was Arman, but something was off. His body moved strangely, like a puppet imitating a human. He didn't walk, he floated forward, every step just a little too smooth. His face had changed too. Still him, but paler, his skin waxy like old candlelight. He didn't turn on lights. He just stood there, listening. Then he spoke, but not to anyone. Where are you? I know you're here. You can't hide. You smell like longing. We watched in horrified silence as he walked toward the closet. The same closet. He stepped in, then the door closed behind him, and he never came back out. Mira and I stared at the screen, waiting. 10 minutes. 30. An hour. Nothing. When police arrived later, they found the closet empty. Just an old, strange smell. Pine and rust. No sign of forced entry or of him. But in the corner, tucked behind a loose floorboard, they found something wrapped in black fabric. It was my green coat, and tucked inside its pocket was the photo he took of me sleeping, printed on yellowed paper. It was time to end this. After that night, I never saw Arman again. But the shadow he left didn't fade easily. For weeks, I kept expecting him to reappear, to see that unreadable half-smile outside my window, or smell that sharp pine rust scent again. I changed apartments. Mira helped me pack everything in daylight. I threw out every piece of clothing he'd touched, even my favorite green coat. The nightmares stayed longer than he did. In them, I'd wake up to find him standing at the edge of my bed, whispering songs that didn't belong in this world. The worst dream was the one where he spoke from inside my reflection, his mouth moving in the mirror while mine stayed frozen. But time passed, and slowly, the dream stopped. Mira and I grew closer than ever. Trauma does that. We joked about it sometimes, dark jokes to ease the tension. "Remember when your Tinder date might have been a demon?" she'd say. We'd laugh, but behind it was still fear and questions. What was he? A few months later, I found a forum, hidden deep online, like the kind of site you stumble across by accident. People were sharing eerily similar stories. Encounters with a man who always looked a little different, who asked the same questions, who showed up in dreams, then in real life. One person called him the Finder. "He only appears to people who've lost themselves," someone wrote. "He finds the lonely, the drifting. He mirrors what they need until he owns them." Reading it gave me goosebumps. But I also realized something. I wasn't the same girl who had swiped right that rainy night. I wasn't drifting anymore. I knew my worth. My fears didn't define me. They protected me. And I had outsmarted something ancient. I had survived. In time, I began to date again, cautiously. I met kind people. Real people. Now, I still sleep with a light on. Not out of fear, but as a reminder. The dark doesn't win when you refuse to look away. And if he ever comes back, I'll be ready.